Good evening and welcome on behalf of the Kiwanis Club of Avon Lake to the annual State of the City report. I'm Chuck Fye and I'm pinch hitting for our club president, Bob Brooks, who isn't able to be here tonight. Bob and his wife Jody have decided that they think they better be on a plane headed to Brazil to visit with their son and daughter-in-law, and most importantly, their first grandchild. All right, so anyhow, on behalf of Bob, he expresses his regrets about missing the first one he's missed in years. In any event, our club is proud that it's been able to sponsor or host this event for many years. Many mayors in the past have been members of our club, and we're really pleased and proud that our current mayor and his wife, Chris, lend their energy and leadership to the support and the operation of our club and its projects in what spare time, and you know what that means. They have, but when they are pressed, they even give more. The Kiwanis Club is focused on serving the community. We try to live up to our defining statement, which is simply stated, Kiwanis is a global organization of volunteers dedicated to changing our world one child and one community at a time. Just a couple of comments about the club. Our recurring projects, ongoing for a number of years, include the Safety Town, very clearly this event, the scholarship program, and we'll be announcing our scholarship winners in May. And we usually award 15 or more substantial scholarships through a fund that we've maintained over the years and grown. And then finally, we have a brand new, at least newer to us, Fall Fest, and that'll be back again this homecoming weekend. We're always looking for new members, so don't be shy. If you have the remotest interest in obtaining more information about us and what we do, you'll see some people in blue shirts who have helped set things up and make things happen tonight, and approach any one of us, and we'd be glad to talk with you and share information. Now, we get to the important piece of this program, the reason you're here. You know, speakers' introductions very frequently include an opening comment to the effect that this speaker needs no introduction. All right? And that's true in this case. It's especially true. Nonetheless, would you please be good enough to stand and join with me in extending a warm welcome to the Honorable Mark Spetzel as he leads us through the State of the Union 2026.
Thank you, Chuck. Thank you, Chuck. Wow, I didn't know everybody's going to stand. Embarrassing me, Chuck. So welcome, everybody, for coming out. I want to also welcome those who are at home watching this live stream and those who will watch it in a recording. Thank you all for tuning in. We really appreciate it. So tonight's an opportunity to kind of look back, look forward, share some information, hear from all of you, the residents, and meet some of your public officials. We have our council here, and we have some leader we'll introduce in a moment. I want to thank Chuck and the Kiwanis Club, which I've been a member of for a while. Great organization. I want to thank them for hosting this event. I also want to introduce our council members in attendance. Just raise your hand if you could. Our Council President, Jeff Smith. We have Ward 3 Councilwoman Amy Gentry. We have At-large Councilwoman Kayla Goodwin. We have Ward 2 Councilwoman Jennifer Fenderbosch and Ward 4 David Kaz. Thank you all. Appreciate you attending. I also want to recognize over on the right here, won't be on camera, we have some government students from Avon Lake High School. Thank you all for coming. We hope you have some questions at the end. Also, a special thanks to our Communication and Technology Department, who's in the back of the room, live streaming and recording this, and also who did all the heavy lifting to put this together. Thank you very much to them. A few housekeeping things before we start. We're going to take questions at the end, so please come up to the microphone that'll be available. We're encouraging questions that will be of general interest to everybody. If you have a question that might be specific to you and not general interest, at the end, we'll be available to talk one-on-one for something like that. So again, everybody will be able to come out after that. We'll have our leaders will stick around here for a little while. You'll have an opportunity to talk to them. We do need to wrap up about 8:30 because we have to close up shop and the library wants us out right at 9 o'clock. So what I'm going to do then is kind of move on here. Hopefully this thing works. All right. There we go. Beautiful shot of our Lake Erie and our fishing pier there. Other way. All right. So last year we spent some time with our employees creating a vision, mission, and values statements. This is really important because these are the guiding principles upon which we're going to operate. And these help us provide that level of excellence in our community. A vision statement is what we hope to be. So our vision statement is to build a legacy as Ohio's premier lakeside city, a place where family values, thoughtful economic development, small-town character, and the natural beauty of Lake Erie converge. Our mission statement is how we're going to attain that vision. Our mission is to foster a safe and connected community where families thrive, their small-town character of the lakeside community is preserved, and all residents enjoy excellent city services that enhance the quality of life. And underlying that are values. This is what we aspire to be. We're committed to collaboration, we're dedicated to excellence, and we are accountable to you, Avon Lake. I had the honor and privilege yesterday of giving a speech to the 4 mayors luncheon that the North Coast Chamber of Commerce sponsors every year. So the mayors of Avon, Avon Lake, Sheffield, Sheffield Lake, we all speak at that event. And I spoke to what Avon looks like. First, I want to say, though, it's an honor and privilege for me to be able to serve this community. My family goes back 100 years here in this community. I'm very proud of this community. And I feel very blessed to be in this position to be able to speak to you today and serve our community. At the event, the North Coast Chamber, I spoke of how Avon looks, what Avon looks like, and I think it looks like transformation. The future of our power plant is one of the big topics in Avon Lake, of course. What was a symbol of our industrial past is now a promise of a vibrant lakefront park and development. We also have the opportunity to breathe new life into the Stop 65 or Beach Park across the street. And we also have the revitalization of Town Center, and you would all probably know that as the old Tops area. And that would be under the leadership of a new company called DeHoff, and they're going to hopefully revitalize that whole area. It also looks like taking a beloved elementary school and transforming it into a community and senior center. We purchased Erie View, and that process is going to start here shortly, transforming that into something that will be great for the community. We also have ALPS, which again is a 3-acre state-of-the-art playground for all ages and all abilities. And it's going to really, it has actually already really emphasized our Blesserfield Park. You know, we already have an aquatic center there. We have ball diamonds there. We have tennis courts, basketball courts, pickleball courts, walking and biking trails. So again, it's just adding to that gem that we call Blesserfield. Avon Lake also looks like quality of life. We have 15 parks spanning over 200 acres, and they're always filled with activities for all ages, including sports, concerts, festivals. We have a highly ranked school system and this beautiful library that you're all in now. Behind us, we have Discovery Works, which people come from all over Northeast Ohio to come and bring their kids to. And we have exceptional police, fire, and paramedic services. Those officers and firefighters they're deeply committed, highly trained individuals who are very professional. Safety is the foundational service of what provides that peace of mind for everybody and that high quality of life. It also looks like local business pride. And I'm going to apologize ahead of time. We have a lot of local businesses here that are owned by people who have grown up in Avon Lake, stayed in Avon Lake, and built a business. Small businesses owned by residents include Emily's, Sisterhood Boutique, Purple Warrior Thrift Store, Little Buckeye Learning Center, Salad Craze, Jake's on the Lake, Irene Movers, Northern Ham Works, and many more. These owners of these businesses grew up in Avon Lake, live in Avon Lake, stayed in Avon Lake, and built a business. So I admire their entrepreneurial spirit and their dedication to our hometown. Avon Lake looks like home. So there are many reasons why people live in Avon Lake. I'm just going to rattle off a few that I'm very well aware of here. Lakefront living opportunity, quality housing options, a high quality of life. We have very active residents, many of them are here in this room today, who serve on city boards and commissions. They volunteer with civic and volunteer organizations. In fact, our community council is made up of over 20 different civic organizations who come together for a singular cause. We have many churches, very active. So our residents are very involved in their community, and the testament to that is the number of you that came out here today. Highly ranked school system, as I mentioned, with our exceptional library. Highly ranked safest city. We were just voted the 5th safest city in Ohio. You might hear that again. I don't know if our police chief might mention that again. Many recreational opportunities. We have excellent employees who are very responsive to our residents. And we have a great mix of residential, commercial, and industrial in our town. A little bit by the numbers. This is just some facts that some people love facts. I'm just going to throw a few out here. We are over 26,000 residents here in Avon Lake. We're about 11.2 square miles. We have 112 miles of centerline roadway. We have 5 miles of lake shore. We have approximately 11,000 housing units here in Avon Lake. In 2025, there was 138 new housing units, and we facilitated over 1,800 building permits last year and did over 4,000 building inspections. We currently have 10 developments in process throughout Avon Lake, such as Port West, Legacy, Harbortown, Portside. I could go on. I think you all kind of know about those. Our workforce, just to give you an idea of who provides the services, we have 196 full-time employees. We have 55 part-time employees. And in 2025, we had 184 seasonal hires, most of which work for the Recreation Department providing services for our youth. This is an amazing group of talented, hardworking, dedicated, and professional employees who take a lot of pride in what they do. I also want to recognize our HR Director, Lynn Kernia, who's this is the first time we've had a full-time HR director, and it was much needed. I know when I was on council, and some of you will understand this too, is HR has become very complicated, from collective bargaining agreements to health care to all the rules that we have. It was very important for us to have, with that number of employees, a full-time HR. And she's been able to develop critical relationships with our employees, our unions, the directors, council members, boards and commission, and all our vendors. We have created a culture of fairness and respect throughout the employees, and we have prioritized hiring top talent. That's very important. And we've also focused on training in all the departments, including leadership development, which I personally find very important. You'll see a little ratio on there. It's a new stat I've never seen before, but it's our revenue basically divided by our full-time employees, which means that each employee is accounted for at $289,000 roughly dollars, which is an increase from the previous year. Our leadership team, I want to introduce our very talented leadership team. Some of them are going to be speaking here tonight. We have Tom Carlton, who couldn't be here tonight, our building official. Ted Esborn is taking a much-needed family vacation out of the country. We have with us today Communication Technology Director Rob Rua. We have our Finance Director Beth Crossy, our Acting Fire Chief Steve Peter. Our HR Director could not be here tonight. Our Law Director Gary Eber could not be here tonight. We have Police Chief Caleb Robinson with us, as well as Public Works Director John Liskovic and our Recreation Director Aaron Fatch. and you'll be hearing from those folks as we move on. So, speaking of Aaron Fatch, I want to introduce him. Aaron, thank you.
Not everybody stood for me, Mayor.
Can we all stand? No, just-
I don't get this. I don't get the same welcome that the mayor got. And I understand that. So, again, welcome. I appreciate everyone being here, especially the high school students. Always good to see some of the high school students along with the baseball players that are representing the baseball team. Good to see them here. So, anyways, I represent the fun department, recreation. This is a great time for recreation, as good time of the year as we gear up for what means that some warmer weather is around the corner. And so we are gearing up for summertime. And so a couple things. One is we did put out our spring summer booklet. We have a lot of great things going on throughout the entire summer, so I encourage you to look through that. But a couple things that I want to highlight is that the outdoor pool is scheduled to open Thursday, June 4th. Pool passes are on sale. And I would encourage you, if you're thinking about getting a pool pass, to make sure you get those during the early bird session, which runs through June 1st. So if you are considering that and you want to save a couple dollars, now's the time to get those. So the other thing I would mention is our Learn to Swim classes. There is some limited space, so if you're interested and have kids that want to get in that program, I'd look forward to doing that now. So a couple other things I just want to mention. Summer sports programs, our youth baseball and softball, the registration deadline is March 31st, so it's quickly approaching. If you have kids or grandkids that are interested in playing in the in-house recreation baseball and softball programs, make sure to get them registered. Also, I want to mention 3-on-3, which has been a long-standing tradition. The 3-on-3 summer basketball program is now open to non-residents, so those that are interested in getting in, there's new opportunity for those to either bring friends in or something along those lines, but always a great program. A couple things that I like to point out to the high school kids: if you're looking for summer jobs, we have a ton of summer jobs available, both lifeguarding, pool maintenance, a ton of different things, green box, different opportunities that we have available if you're looking for a summer gig. I'll point out to the 3 baseball players that we do have umpiring positions available in the summer. Chase, don't look down. I'm looking at you. So, but there's plenty of opportunities. So if you know kids that are looking for a position, please send them our way. Always looking forward to getting kids involved. One of the other plugs I'll mention for Safety Town, which he did mention, Safety Town is ongoing. Great opportunity to volunteer for kids 14 and older. If you're looking, especially those kids looking for some volunteer hours, still looking for volunteers for Safety Town. 2 different sessions offered in summertime. So again, if you have kids or grandkids that are looking to volunteer, again, please send them our way. America 250, the 250 Jubilee, as Tony is back there smiling. We have a committee working on and celebrating a lot of events to celebrate the America 250 and the Avon Lake Jubilee. So a couple things. We have a whole slew of items that are being planned. There is a website, so if you Google Avon Lake Jubilee, you will find a list of all of those events and activities. A couple that I just have highlighted here is we have a community takeover at Avon Lake Crushers Stadium. That's Saturday, May 9th. It's their opening weekend, so if you're a Crushers fan, would love to see a ton of Avon Lake folks out there. Really Avon Lake oriented. We get to designate who's throwing out the first pitch and who's singing the national anthem and all those great things. So great opportunity. It's Dollar Dog Night, and they're also going to have fireworks following the game. So again, their opening weekend. The other thing that I want to highlight is the Lake Erie Liberty 5K. It's a road race that we have that's going to take off from Beach Park Station. Great opportunity for family to get together and compete or train to come out and join us. So hopefully we're looking forward to having a ton of folks join us on that day as well. And again, a whole list, if you look at the Avon Lake Jubilee, of the different activities going really from the beginning of May, leading up all the way to our fireworks celebration, which is scheduled for Friday, July 3rd this year. Always want to mention the senior programming. We have a lot of senior programming that we offer at the old firehouse. There is a senior newsletter that you can look at online. There's a list of the different activities that we have available to seniors, including a number of different fitness classes. And again, so I would encourage you to go to our website. That senior newsletter comes out once a month or so. And again, lists all the upcoming activities and events, including those fitness classes. So they're doing a great job at the old firehouse, and would encourage you to check out the different things that they're offering. The mayor had mentioned the Avon Lake Play Space. I know how long it took for this park to sort of turn around and come together. We want to celebrate that. We've had a lot of great feedback. The roller coaster ride we've been on with the weather, some of the nicer days, it's been great to come outside City Hall and hear all the kids playing. We've had a lot of tremendous feedback. We're not quite done yet, and we hope to add some things in the future, but we definitely, if you haven't got out to see the new Avon Lake Play Space, I would encourage you to do so. So it's a great facility and in addition to our great park. So again, fun time for recreation. Please check out our website. You can always look at all the fun activities that we have. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Rob Rua. They're not going to stand for you.
I figured. I prefer that, yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm so pleased to be here with you. I'm Rob Rua, as Aaron said. I'm the Communications and Technology Director here in Avon Lake, and as of today, I've been here exactly 1 year and 1 day as of today.
Oh, that's
So- All right. So Communications and Technology is a relatively new department here in the city. You probably know us best as the ALC-TV people. But we do a lot of different things, and I want to tell you about that here on this slide. So what are we responsible for? So we do the city's social media, the website content, the newsletters and mailings. We'll get to that in a minute. PR, press releases. We have the Access Studio, which for those of you that don't know, this is the television access station. It's actually right here in the library in the lower level, and we've been here for a long time. We live stream events like tonight's talk, surveys, and then on the IT side of things, we're responsible for we're a small but mighty team that's responsible for a wide range of different things, from computer management to cybersecurity to software procurement. So it's really a fun and interesting job. I love working here. It's been terrific to see how engaged this community is, and that there's an incredible, I think, spirit of collaboration here, not only between all of us in our city departments, but also the community is very collaborative. So I'm going to keep my remarks brief, but I do want to tell you about some things that are coming up. One is we are looking to revamp our website to make it more user-friendly, to get information, to make it more easily accessible for all of you. And as part of that, we'll be transitioning to a .gov domain. So right now we are a .org. A .gov domain is a more secure domain. So we're looking to do that, and that you can look for that to happen later this year in the fall. There'll be some opportunities for folks to kind of help us figure out what the structure of the site should look like. So there'll be more on that, and I'll tell you in a second how you can stay on top of that. So ALC-TV, Avon Lake Community Television, which I mentioned is the kind of the original Communications and Technology Department, which is downstairs, has been around a long time, and we've actually won a lot of awards. I should say the team back there has won a lot of awards. I'm new here, so you know. But they've been winning awards for a long time, and just last year, one of my team members, Lucas Rico, was a winner of a national award in a category called Arts and Cultural Awareness for the work that we did on the channel about the summer concert series that Aaron and his team puts on. And then we were a finalist for our coverage of the homecoming parade. So for those of you that don't know, the city has two public access cable stations that are on Spectrum and Breezeline. There's a public channel, which is I'll get to this in a second too, but largely like community events, and then also we have community producers who are Avon Lake residents like you who come in and actually create their own shows, which we broadcast. And then we have a government channel where we broadcast events like this and city council meetings and other city-sponsored events. So if you don't have Spectrum or Breezeline, you can stay plugged in to what's going on in the city. We have a free app. You can get it at your App Store or Google Play. You can scan this, but I know you probably don't want to do that right now. But there's information about the app in the back. If you're interested, you can watch all the council meetings. You can watch all the content that we're producing on that app using that free app. So take a second to scan that. But if you want to, there's information back there, and the same QR code is on that information. Then you can just scan that and get the app that way, or just go to your app store. Just make sure if you go to your app store, you type in ALC, include the hyphen TV. When I started here Last year, one of the things we want to do is just increase the number of touch points we have with the community, increase the number of ways we have to communicate with you. And so we started a newsletter. It's called Avon Lake Currents. It's published every month, sometimes a little bit more often if we have something that is, we need to report to you, we want you to know about. You can sign up for that on the website. You can just go to avonlake.org/email-sign-up, or there is on the homepage, there's a little email icon envelope there. Just click that. You put in your email address, and then you can receive the newsletter. You can opt out anytime. Hopefully you won't, but you can if you want to. All right. With that, I'll hang around afterwards if you want to learn more about these things. And now I'll hand it over to the mayor.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Rob. Communication and technology really does a lot to kind of tie all our departments together and make sure all our communication that's so important to the community gets out. So thank you for that. Before I pretend I'm Ted Esborn again, he couldn't make it, he's on vacation. I want to recognize Mary Krupar. She's going to be embarrassed by this, but I want to recognize Mary Krupar over here. She's my administrative assistant. She made sure I showed up tonight. She makes sure I don't miss any Zoom calls, that if I have an appointment, I get to them. She really saves me like every day, not kidding. And a lot of the work that I do, she supports. So thank you, Mary, for that. Appreciate that. Okay, again, Director Esborn, who's our Community Development Director, couldn't be here tonight. As you probably are aware, we have seen a lot of growth in our community. This creates challenges, but with challenges become opportunities. And so this is the nature of community development, is dealing with the development and progress as it comes through the community. 4 different separate functions under community development, but they're all related. We have planning, zoning, property maintenance, and economic development. Those all fall under Director Esborn's area. So what does planning and zoning do? Planning and zoning helps guide how the city grows and develops by reviewing new projects, making sure they follow our local rules, which is planning and zoning codes, protecting the character, safety, and quality of our neighborhoods. That's their kind of their mandate. And Mr. Esborn is the administrative connection to our Planning Commission, which is residents and a few city folks. In 2025, the Planning Commission heard 22 total cases. Another function of our planning is grants. So one of our planner does grant seeking. And in 2025 alone, she was able to get us $1.54 million in grant money. Zoning, also busy. They issued 626 permits for things like patios and decks and pools and things of that nature. They also had to give permits for 122 new residential units, and then there's 24 other various permits, such as if you want to have chickens, you have to get a permit from our zoning committee. So just FYI, all you chicken people, you have to get a permit. Just give us a call. We're happy to help you with that. Our zoning is also the administrative connection to the Board of Zoning Appeals. Again, another citizen-based group, and they approved 26 cases in 2025. When I was on council, one of the most common complaints I ever received was exterior maintenance complaints, and I think our council members would probably attest that's like in the one top or two, maybe roadways, property, maybe back and forth, right? So it's a very common complaint to get complaints about exterior maintenance. One of the things I vowed to do was to hire a full-time property maintenance specialist, which we did in the middle of 25. It's, again, a new position, and this person is responsible for all relevant codified ordinances to deal with that and addresses community property maintenance concerns. We want to keep the value of our housing stock high. We want to make sure that your neighbors are not, for you, we want to make sure that your neighbors are complying with all regulations. And in 25 alone, and again, he wasn't here all year, 186 complaints were filed. 32 of those are still pending, carried over from the previous year, and still in play. And that's not an uncommon number. We get a lot of those kind of complaints.
What's his name?
I'm sorry?
What's his name?
Oh, Matt Mahoney.
I'm sorry?
Matt Mahoney.
Matt Mahoney.
Yep. Again, I don't want to go forward yet. Projects that the community development was involved in. They're involved in rezoning, right-of-way vacations, historic preservation, major subdivisions, and site plans. Little quick map up there of our zoning districts. And this is all on our website as well. I'll tell you what all those colors mean and what can happen in those different areas. For example, rezoning would be an example of on Moore Road across from Drug Mart, just north of Walker Road, there was some property that was business zoned. We changed that to residential, and that'll facilitate some new homes there. Right-of-way vacations, there's a lot of what we call paper streets in Avon Lake, which are dedicated properties that could be a street. They probably will never be at this point. So we can vacate that property, provide that to a private homeowner for other expansion. Example of that would actually be Avon Lake Regional Water. They're expanding their administrative building, and part of where they wanted to expand was near a vacant street. And so we basically vacated that so they could continue their building and comply with setbacks and so forth. Historic preservation, we had the red aircraft warning beacon that was on top of one of the stacks at the power plant. I know David Kaz, thank you for bringing that to us. That was an historic preservation that came through the community development. Major subdivisions, this is probably what you're most familiar with. Anytime you see a major subdivision, that has to go through the community development department, and it'll go through probably zoning and planning and so forth, and then through council. Examples of that would be the Harbor Crest, Sand Ridge Run, you're probably familiar with, Portside, those type of things are major subdivisions. And then lastly, there's site plans. Many of those are also related to the major subdivisions. For example, Ford, whenever they do a addition within the Avon Lake property, they have to have a site plan approved. Jake's on the Lake, they had a patio out in the back that they enclosed. If you haven't been there, by the way, really nice place. It's excellent. And again, we talked about Avon Lake Regional Water. They're expanding their administrative building, and that required a site plan. So even if you're a city agency, we have to still comply with our own regulations, right? We're not exempt from complying with all that. Business activity. This would fall under our economic development aspect of what the community development does. So we've had a lot of new businesses open in '25, Elysium, Buckeye Learning Center, Purple Warrior Thrift Shop, Sisterhood, Indie Equipment, and others. And it's always good to see. We love going and doing ribbon cuttings for them, talking with the business owners, and we're always thrilled. But again, these businesses do not survive without your support, right? So all of these businesses we talk about rely and need your support as we move on. In 2026, there's going to be some other openings. Encore Cycles on Moore Road, Big B Coffee, which is in the Drug Mart Plaza, will be opening up. So we have some other ones opening up here in the near future. And of course, we can't go by talking about community development without talking about the power plant redevelopment. You'll see that we had several things that have gone through the formal processes of the city, including the interim development agreement, purchase and sale agreement, planning code update. So the interim development agreement, which basically was the outline for how the power plant development was going to move forward, was approved by council back in November of '24. In December of '25, council approved the purchase agreement for 23 acres of the power plant property along the lake. And actually just last night, the Planning Commission forwarded approval to council for a planning code update for the mixed-use overlay district that encompasses that property. And I don't know how to use the little pointer there, but you can see that that's Lake Road running diagonally through there. And of course, this is a picture post-demolition. And it really gives you a nice perspective of how big that 43 acres really is and what the possibilities of that exist. There's also, I didn't put it on here, there's also a reimbursable agreement, which means that ALC, the owner of the property, actually pays our professionals for the work they do in moving this development project forward. So that's a great benefit to the community. And then lastly, we have environmental assessment, which is currently ongoing. We have hired a company called Verdantis, is one of the premier environmental companies in Ohio. Along with ALC doing their own environmental assessment, we are doing it in parallel and in conjunction with them. We want to make sure before we do anything, this site is safe. We're not going to do anything unless we know it is. So just want to assure everybody that that's happening. So underlying all this work that's being done legally, in legal portions and administratively, as you can tell, the demolition is all but complete. That environmental assessment is ongoing, which will then support the remediation efforts of the entire property. ALC, the property owner, is still working to identify a developer. They have people interested, and they're also working to obtain the financing to support that development. So I know many people are interested in the power plant, so we are actually having a forum on April 22nd at 7 p.m. right here in this room. It's hosted by the League of Women Voters, and it's going to include a presentation and panel discussion specifically about the redevelopment of the power plant. And then we have the Economic Recovery and Resiliency Plan. We obtained a grant from the federal government to study this, and this was really initiated by the closure of the power plant. And it was completed in 2025. We worked with Kleinfelder to do that. This is a very extensive document. It's 309 pages. It's all available on our website if you want to check it out. Very comprehensive document, a lot of data in there. But this report will form the basis for our strategic planning, economic planning moving forward. It'll be reviewed administratively by our Community Improvement Corporation as well as City Council, and will provide a backbone for our economic development plans moving forward. It came out with 6 recommendations. I'm just going to run through these really quickly. 6 key recommendations: establish coordinated business retention and expansion program, use CIC to promote public-private partnership, implement business attraction and marketing strategy, actively support redevelopment of power plant property, integrate sustainability into economic development, and complete a comprehensive infrastructure plan. We are in progress on all 6 of those key items already. So I just want to point that out as well. So with that, since we're talking about economic development, our Finance Director, Beth Crossy, relies on all that economic development to have the money to facilitate our city. So, Ms. Crossy?
Thank you. It's so nice to see familiar faces out here. We've been out and about in the community more, and it's just a pleasure to meet with such involved citizens. So thank you all for coming tonight. I have the fun part here, the numbers. I don't get to talk about recreation or that type thing, but I was just going to briefly go over our 2025, where we ended up. And this is an unencumbered funds chart. And the city had about $52 million in unencumbered balances as of the end of December. 2/3 of that, or $35 million, is Avon Lake Regional Water, which is an enterprise fund. And 1/3 of that, or $17 million, was 46 governmental funds, which also includes general fund. And general fund ended with a balance at year end of about $3 million. And just as a reminder, we have a projected budget for 2026 for general fund of $34 million. So we do have a bit of a reserve, but during the year we will have income taxes, property taxes, and fees coming in to fund general fund. And here we have our revenue slide for 2025. And these are all governmental funds. Regional water is not included in this because the city governmental funds cannot access regional water's funds since they are an enterprise fund. So, and just real quickly, total revenue for, again, all of those governmental funds came in just about $42 million, which was up 22% from 2024, but that was due in a large part to some bonds that the city sold to obtain 2 fire trucks in 2025. But we did see some increases also in income tax due to, cost of living type increases and property taxes. We also saw an increase due to the county revaluation. So property taxes, if you look there real quickly, is about 23% of all governmental funds, and income tax is 44% of income of all governmental funds. And here is the expense chart, again, without regional water. So we had total expense for all governmental funds of about $44 million, which was up, again, about 24%. And that was due in part to those 2 fire trucks that were purchased with debt, and also some other capital projects that were carried out. So salaries and benefits are about 50%, again, of all governmental funds, and operating expenses are about 19% of all governmental funds. And we do see capital expense there of 25%. Of all governmental funds, and that does include that capital fund that we have used to purchase equipment and do some road work in '25 and those types of projects. Should take this off. And we like to present this dollar bill here so you can see. You're probably all aware that property tax is allocated among city, schools, the county, the health district, the library, various entities. And for every dollar that's collected in property tax in Avon Lake, 12% or 12 cents comes to the city. So, and 61% goes to the schools, 3% to the libraries, just so you can get an idea of what's happening with your property taxes there. And I wanted to present this slide just to reinforce a few facts about the city's property taxes. So there is inside millage, which is millage that is granted by the Ohio State Constitution, and we're allowed to have 10 mills. The city currently takes advantage of only 4.2 mills of property tax, of the inside millage. The outside millage is those property tax levies that you vote on as residents. And that would be above that 10 mil constitutional limit. And the city has 3 levies currently, one of which expires in 2028. Another one, which if we pass the income tax levy, we would stop collections on those. If that passes, we would stop collection on those in January of '27, which would leave us with the ambulance and EMS property tax. So we would only have one property tax after 2028 for the city specifically. And I just wanted to point out that the last time that the voters actually added a property tax, a new property tax for the city, was in 2008, which was 18 years ago. Since then, we've renewed them at the voters' will. And I also want to point out the last income tax increase was in 1992, 34 years ago. So I just want to stress that the city is trying to be very cognizant of what we ask to run city operations and be aware of the impact on our residents. And I do want to do a little bit of bragging here. So I have a staff of 3 people who are just invaluable and keeps our city finances running. And I depend on them for so very many things. So I do want to thank them. The first award that was received was from the General Finance or the Government Finance Association for excellence and transparency in financial reporting. I think that is a very important award to get because many times we hear, oh, you're not being transparent, when in fact we have opened our books. Anyone is welcome to come in, speak with us, publicly request any records that you would want. And this is the 9th consecutive year that Avon Lake has won that award. So I think that's tremendous. And also, this year, we received a commendation from our state senator, Nathan Manning, and the Ohio Senate President, Robert McCauley, for this financial excellence. So know that your dollars are being well taken care of here. Thank you. And just real quick, we're not going to dwell on this. I just want to be sure, maybe there's folks in the room who are unaware, but the city is asking for a 0.4 additional income tax. So the rate would go from 1.5 to 1.9%. It is limited for 5 years. And those funds will be dedicated to the roads and some other capital needs that are specified, and the percentages, legislation was passed that we would dedicate a minimum of 65% to the roads, a minimum, and a maximum of 35% for vehicles, equipment, stormwater. So, we have always offered 100% tax credit, income tax credit to residents who work outside the city of Avon Lake. And that is 75% of our wage earners that leave Avon Lake and work in other cities. So that 75% of residents, those income taxes do not return to our city, just so you're aware. So that 1.5% credit's going to remain in place, but the 0.4 additional income tax will be shared by all of us, including those leaving the city to work in other cities. And that income tax will be raising $6.6 million annually to go towards those roads and other needs, as I specified. The cost to a wage earner would be $400 per $100,000 of income tax, and that is taxable income, earned income. Retirement income is not earned income, therefore it is not taxable for city income tax purposes. And again, just to remind you that if this were to pass, we will eliminate collections on a 1.5 mil property tax. So. That's all. Jonathan Liskovic.
Thank you, Director Crosby. Good evening, everybody. So as mentioned, Jonathan Liskovic, Public Works Director for City of Avon Lake, just completed 2 years of service with the city early in March. With that, I'm just going to go into, hopefully, there we go. Just kind of overview of Public Works, what we do, what we've done, where we're going. Public Works is responsible not only for the service side, but also the engineering side of improvements and maintenance throughout the city. We're responsible for maintaining 112 centerline miles of roadway, which is about split 50-50, made up of asphalt and concrete streets. We also maintain and repair 8 major facilities, such as Safety Center and City Hall. We maintain over 160 acres of parkland, including anchor parks such as Weiss, Blesser, and Veterans Park. We also are responsible for the maintenance and preparation of athletic fields to support recreational programming. We also maintain and operate the boat launch located at Miller Road Park, and along with the shared maintenance of Walker Road Park with the city of Bay Village.
In charge, front desk.
So some projects of note that were completed in 2025. We've got, as Director Fatch had mentioned, Phase 2 of the Alps project was done. We've just got some minor details to tend to as the weather breaks. Walker Road Phase 5 received all paving. We're looking forward to, as temperatures come up, to getting all the striping completed. the installation of a new RRFB at Moorwood Midship and Walker, completion of annual sand dredging, also completion of contracted crack sealing, and the replacement of the roofing system at the Folger home. Projects in progress, we've got two sizable projects, which are, it's infill of sidewalks along the entire length of US Route 6, broken up into an eastern component and a western component. We're looking for construction, to see construction happening in 2026 for the eastern component, and then in 2027 for the western component. Additionally, we're nearing completion on the Edgewood outfall rehabilitation, and we're actively working on a inventory of all publicly owned trees, whether they're street trees or within our publicly owned properties. Ahead of myself here. So some projects that are on the board for 2026, as I mentioned, the eastern component of the Lake Road Sidewalk project. We're also looking to go out to bid and start construction on Walker Road Phase 6, which goes from Jaycox Road through the Lear Road intersection. Also coming up this summer, starting in near the end of June, is going to be the replacement of the bridge on Electric Boulevard over Hyder Creek. That will be a full road closure, and as we get closer to that, more details will be pushed out through with the support of our communications and technology team. We're working right now, we're under contract to do the annual sand dredging, and then we're also working on getting out to bid contracted crack sealing and contracted pavement markings to refresh all the pavement markings throughout the city. With the exception of Lake Road, which was done in 2023 in a thermoplastic versus latex, and those last traditionally longer than the latex application. And then lastly, I just have some kind of stats on department activities. We had a really strong year last year with roadway work. Our crews were able to place 290 tons of hot mix asphalt throughout the course of the 2025 season. That's 240 additional tons more than what we did in 2024. We also were able to place 582 cubic yards of concrete. Again, that's up 260 cubic yards over 2024. With that, all those materials are used to help repair our roads. It's been obviously a topic of discussion, and it's been a hard focus of the department to be out there repairing potholes and making the roadways, providing the necessary repairs and making them safe for motorists and pedestrians. Additionally, we also had a real strong year as far as crack sealing. It's a key component in the preventative maintenance of our roadways, and we completed crack sealing activities on 7.6 centerline miles, or that's 16 lane miles of roadway. Some stormwater work that was done by the department. We completed street sweeping of all city roadways in excess of 150 miles worth last year. Completed the cleaning of 699 catch basins, reconstruction of 28 catch basins, and cleaning of 10,000 linear feet of storm sewers. Lastly is just another department statistic. It was urban forestry work, which is really important for the maintenance and preservation of our urban canopy. City crews conducted 35 tree removals, street tree pruning of 634 trees, and we were able to install 8 new trees. With that, I just wanted to share a little bit on the pavement preservation and management program. This was developed throughout the course of 2025 as the goal to extend and maximize the useful life of any given pavement segment. The strategy involves targeting repairs to roadway segments at the proper time before deterioration worsens, which leads to more expensive repair methods. With that, tools we utilize to develop our program is going to be the consulting efforts by a pavement management group. They, on a yearly basis, they drive and provide us with assessments on the different segments that we guide them to take a look at. That's coupled with in-person field review and historical repair data. Just to kind of illustrate how this program is going to work, it's broken up into three main categories. We've got preservation, maintenance, and then rehabilitation. Preservation is, at the end of the day, it's your biggest bang for your buck. We're able to cover and touch the most square footage of pavement with the least amount of expenditure. It provides typically, on average, 4 to 7 years of pavement service life extension, and includes such repair methods as asphalt rejuvenation, crack seal, which can be done on both asphalt and concrete streets, and then partial depth repairs, which is a shallow milling of a failed area till we get to stable material and refilling it with asphalt. Then we move into a maintenance repair method, which is a mill and overlay process, where we'll go through, depending on the classification of the roadway, either perform a 2-inch or a 3-inch mill, and then overlay that with asphalt, providing a new driving surface and extending the base pavement surface an additional 10 to 12 years. And then finally in the rehabilitation is the full reconstruction, which is a complete removal all the way down to the base and a rebuilding of that roadway segment. It is unfortunately the most costly repair method, but because it encompasses the most work needed to restore that pavement segment to its original service life. Rehabilitations, reconstructions give you a 20-plus year of service life. And with that, I would like to introduce our acting fire chief, Steve Peter.
Good evening, everybody, and I also want to thank you for coming out tonight. I'm the acting fire chief right now, and I am actually a member of the fire department and have been here since August 31st of 1998, so if you guys do the math, it's 27 and a half years. The Avon Lake Fire Department is consisted of 36 full-time firefighter paramedics. We also have 2 part-time inspectors that go around and inspect all of our businesses every year. And we have a department secretary named Kristen, who is pretty much our nucleus of our entire department. So in 2025, we recorded an all-time high of 3,571 documented calls for service. This was an increase of approximately 2.51 from the volume from last year. The year previous to that was a little over 4%, so we actually didn't have as much from year to year as we did in previous years. Despite our increased workload, the members of our department had impressive average response time of 5 minutes and 23 seconds for the average of all calls, which is actually below the standard, so we're actually doing much better than what is commonly seen throughout certain areas. These do include the responses to our neighboring communities when we are needed. They also come to our aid when critical responses are needed for more manpower or when our manpower is unavailable at the time in our city. These are really considered mutual aid responses. Last year, we actually responded 131 times to our neighboring communities, and a lot of these are basically full fire structures or large things, or they're basically lack of manpower also, or large car accidents, stuff along those lines. In return, we've received 59 responses from outside communities. So during our normal business hours, we also try to undergo training on a regular basis. So If you look over on that far left-hand side over there, that was actually during our Big Trucks event. If you guys have never been to our Big Trucks event, it's usually the third week of September. It brings equipment and stuff all over from the county, from SWAT to ODNR to, we've had a Coast Guard helicopter land, and we usually have Life Flight come. It's a big event. In that picture right there, we're doing a demonstration of vehicle extrication with using our jaws of life, if you remember the old terminology. The jaws of life would basically cut cars apart. As time has gone on and we get these new hybrid vehicles, is causing us more and more challenging with the new metals that they're using, with all the airbag systems and the electrical vehicles, whatever is a thing that we have to constantly train on because it is changing from year to year. In the back, a lot of times when we have downtime, we're actually out training. That's our back patio area and where our dumpsters are and our little garage back there. These guys are all doing hose line advancements. They're doing water flow exercises and stuff to basically stay on top of the game. We don't get as many fires as we we don't want a lot of fires, but that's what firefighters want to do. But we have to keep up on our stuff, and so we do a lot of training in the back when we have downtime. And usually there's a couple guys off to the side, so if we get a squad call, they immediately go to the squad call, and then those guys just get ready for the next call because we do have a lot of multiple calls that go on in the city. The lower picture down there is basically our frontline apparatus. That's our ladder truck, 2 engines, and an ambulance, and the door closed, whatever, has our command response vehicle, which is usually the officer in charge. Usually tries to get out on anything that's above sickness, general illness or something like that. They respond also to make sure that everything is going well. Some more training here. You guys might have even seen this if you guys tune into Channel 19 News. This was some of our ice rescue training that we're doing in our front pond. We did have some people out on the lake, doing it actually in the lake, which poses a lot more problems because we have a lot of ice buildups, uneven surfaces, and everything else. It poses a lot more challenging, but of course that puts us out in the lake, and it's a lot harder for us to respond. WIO did a spot on this on their news. If you see in the second picture there at the top, there's actually a drone. We acquired a drone a couple years ago. We use that for wide area searches, lost people, that we have that equipped so that it actually has a dropped rig, and you'd have to look really close, but below that is a small device there that they can fly that over to somebody and drop a self-inflating rescue tube or whatever, so as soon as it hits the water, it'll inflate, and then they can grab onto that until we get some more time to get out there and do a full rescue there. Oh, let me go back a second. So some of the other things that I really wanted to do a quick shout out was we've been very fortunate the last year and this year also to have some community house donations. And what I mean by that, if you guys know Mike Liptak or you know Big M's Pizza, he owns a building there. He acquired a house right next to there, and I've known Mike for quite some time. And he donated the house next to us, or next to his business there, for us to train on. He gave us about 3 months of training inside there. So we were doing a lot of smoke devolutions where we had fog machines in there, and the firefighters were going in there doing a lot of training on that, to the point just before demolition to where we actually used our ladder, worked roof work and everything else, which is it's hard training to get on a regular basis. So we used that quite a bit and spent a lot of hours there. We recently got another one on the east side of Lake Road. We've already been starting to train with that, and that was from Ed and Ann Thompson, who actually live in Westlake now, but they are going to demolish this early 1900 home. And they came out to us also because they seen we were doing that, and they gave us their house for 3 months or whatever to train on that house. So you'll probably see some, because this one we're elevating a little bit more. We're actually being in Bay Village, Sheffield Lake, Avon, or whatever to come train. We're doing some larger events over there, and this will be happening early in spring. They plan to demolish it in May. So we are really big on training and try to get a lot of training in because we have to be prepared all the time. So I really want to thank Mike Liptak and Ann and Ed Thompson, because those are just invaluable experiences that we're able to get from the community, and we really appreciate that. This is going to be a new addition to our fire department here. And back in 2023, we basically went to council, and they passed an ordinance to acquire a new aerial truck, which is the ladder truck. It's the large ladder truck that goes up, this one's 100 foot, the other one was 102 foot. Our other ladder truck was 30 years old, so that's kind of on a high end for NFPA standards. If you look at larger cities, I think and I'm going to take the larger cities, so like New York or something like that, they don't keep them for 11 years. They turn them over every 10 years. Engines, they turn over every 12 years. The other thing that we are getting in 2025, as Beth had mentioned, we had acquired some more vehicles because of our aging fleet, which is we have an engine, a heavy rescue truck, and also another ambulance. The ambulance, with COVID and everything else, time to build these things have just gone crazy. So it takes about 3 years from order date to get an ambulance. It takes almost 5 years to get an engine. So when we basically are going to the city for money, we're looking 5 years in the future to actually replace stuff that's already aging, and it's a lot of expense for us to upkeep those. I also want to make another special announcement is Tony Tominik's here somewhere, whatever, I just met with him, and the Avon Lake Historical Society has been coordinating, oh, there he is back there, has been coordinating the effort to renovate our 1938 Dodge American LaFrance Forum White truck, which was the actual first truck for Avon Lake. There's been a lot of volunteers, and there was also a large donation. It was willed from a former Assistant Fire Chief, Jeff Moore, on his passing, which happened a few years ago. Without that, it would still be bouncing from garage to garage somewhere. So that was a very a big event. We're planning on doing that Memorial Day weekend. So if you're going to be around the parade, you might see it in the front line of the parade. Just kind of let you know. Couple things that we do on a regular basis. Well, actually, the AEDs is a new program with the rec department. We basically have placed AEDs in most of our parks. That's going to be at Blesser Field, Weiss Field, Walker Road Park, the Lake House, and Miller Road Park. So you'll see those out. Those are out for community use or whatever. So if somebody's having a cardiac incident or something like that, those are for anybody to use, grab. It'll actually call 911 right away as soon as you open it up, and it'll give you instructions on how to use it. The sign in the middle is just basically our address signs. With some of these developments having central mailboxes and not a lot of address signs on the residence, sometimes it makes it a challenge for us to actually find the address. And those reflective green signs really shine out and really kind of give us a good beacon for us to get to somebody's house very quickly. We also do a lot of outside reach of CPR training, so you can contact the fire station, whatever. We do set up some courses here, even at the library. Some of the businesses and other organizations that actually request us will come out and do CPR and some basic life training. We also have car seat installations. That's something you would have to call up and order, or a time slot. We only have 4 certified people who actually do the child seat installation. So if you're having a new baby or you're a grandparent that needs a new seat in there, they have to go through 80 hours of training, to actually install all types of seats or whatever. So it's just not throw it in and buckle it. They actually go through quite a bit of training. This right here was I put in for a grant and a donation from the Cleveland Clinic last year, fall of last year, whatever. We are actually awarded it, and it was actually broadcast quite a bit. This was through the Community West Foundation, and that's also in partnership with the Avon Cleveland Clinic and the Fairview General Hospital Cleveland Clinic. They awarded us a $45,885 grant to actually buy 2 more Lucas, which are mechanical, and you'll see it in the green there. They're mechanical CPR devices, so when we get on scene and somebody's in cardiac arrest, that takes over the CPR aspect. And so therefore, we can actually concentrate on other things, and that gives perfect compressions, perfect depth on the devices, so that you have a better outcome. We actually, because we were able to turn in our old Lucas devices, we actually had some surplus money, and I went back to them. I was going to return the money to them, and they basically said that if you can use it for something else, and I, asked about another AED, so they supplied us with another AED, so another AED will be in the community, basically on that. So I really want to thank the president of the Community West Foundation, Martin Yulee, Dr. Rebecca Smith over at Avon Cleveland Clinic, Dr. Neil Smith from Fairview General Hospital, and our EMS director throughout the whole Cleveland Clinic system, which was Bill Maramy. So without that, I'll bring up Caleb Robinson, the police chief.
Thanks, Chief. Good evening, everybody. This is my first State of the City address, so I appreciate you all coming out. I'm Chief Caleb Robinson, the Avon Lake Police Department. I've been with the department for 19 years and was promoted to the chief's position in May of last year. And let me start off by saying what an honor it is to guide this department to the service of this city. Stepping into this role of the department, I had some big shoes to fill with the departure of Chief Molnar. Replacing his leadership and knowledge of police work was a challenging task, but I look to continue the tradition of service to the citizens of Avon Lake that this department has been dedicated to for over 80 years. The men and women of Avon Lake Police Department strive to do their best for the residents of this city, and tonight I'd like to share with you how they accomplish this. Here we have some stats. The Avon Lake Police Department responded to 11,403 calls for service in 2025, resulting in 644 case reports completed by officers. These numbers remain fairly consistent over the last 5 to 10 years. Officers respond to all these thousands of calls that range from lockouts to domestic violence calls with professionalism, courage, and compassion. The department conducted a total of 2,284 traffic stops in 2025. This results in an average of about 6.25 stops a day. Of these stops, 638 resulted in citations, and that works out to about 29% of all stops receive a citation. And this is a 13% increase in citations from 2024. The department also received some more hardware this year. This is our trophy case. This is the AAA Community Traffic Safety Award. We were awarded this for the 4th year in a row. The award is dedicated to the efforts the department puts forth to ensure the roadways are safe. These awards highlight the department efforts to conduct proactive enforcement, education, and initiatives, such as working with Ohio State Highway Patrol for increased holiday traffic patrols and the Click It or Ticket program at the schools. And here's another brag the mayor had mentioned earlier. The city was recently recognized by SafeWise as the 5th safest city in Ohio. This annual report analyzes publicly available crime numbers from the FBI and then adjusts their rankings based on population. This designation by a national publication is evidence of the quality of the partnership the police department has with this community. This partnership was built upon years of trust and respect, and the Avon Lake Police Department has garnered in its history. This trust and respect is a result of a combination of factors, including hiring the best people and continuous engagement with the community and addressing their needs. Funny story about this. I just spent 3 weeks in Columbus, police leadership training, and one of the guys happened to be from Trenton, which is down there. You can kind of see it. And he was kind of walking through his class. I sat next to him for 3 weeks, and he was kind of walking, kind of bragging about this. And I said, Steve, did you read the whole article? And he was amazed. It was actually pretty cool for the thousands of police departments in Ohio to have 2 guys sit at the same table for 3 weeks in the top 10 safest cities in Ohio. The department also worked closely with council to address the area-wide issue of e-bikes. Through these efforts, Avon Lake produced updated legislation to address this burgeoning concern that is an area-wide issue. This led to a far-reaching community education effort that included PSAs, social media posts, presentations at schools, and numerous officers, enforcement, and education stops of riders to make them aware of these new rules, to include a new helmet rule for all riders under 18. And this is to increase the safety of all residents of Avon Lake. We also worked closely with Avon Lake Community Resources this year to assist citizens in need. The PD worked with CRS staff to use the police department as a 24-hour food donation center. This effort resulted in 940 pounds of donated goods. CRS was also able to provide hunger bags to the patrol officer staff. Officers were able to identify people who may be in need, and with these bags, were able to immediately address these individuals' needs. This partnership with CRS was a big success, and we hope to continue this in the future. ALPD continues to focus its efforts on training as one of its main operational components. This is evidenced by the creation of the new position of training sergeant. Sergeant Ludwig has been placed in charge of creating a departmental in-house training program. This cost-effective program is focused on reinforcing essential physical skills and providing a strong base of legal knowledge for officers in the streets. This is accomplished through hands-on exercises and scenario-based training, which prepares our officers to be able to handle any type of incidents. The training in 2025 included a collaborative training with the fire department on critical incident response to an active shooter. Trainings also covered the topics of domestic violence law, protection orders, firearms, training, and building searches. In addition to this, the PD also saw a need for increased resident education in the area of online fraud and active shooter response. The city is not alone in experiencing a surge in online fraud cases over the last several years. These crimes are committed by international syndicates, and they use human psychology to manipulate their victims through fear and intimidation. In response to this concern, the Detective Bureau and Detective Godlewski, seen here, have hosted anti-fraud presentations with various groups in the city. A major component of combating these crimes is to educate people before they become victims. Through this outreach and education, we hope to decrease the numbers of these cases in the future. Another need expressed by the community was for education on what to do if they find themselves involved in the unthinkable situation of being involved in an active shooter event. Lieutenant Fabrizi and Sergeant Ludwig, along with the fire department staff, have offered their civilian response critical care classes to local businesses and groups. This class stresses that even though they are incredibly rare, these incidents can happen and you need to have a plan. If you'd like to schedule either of these events for your groups or your businesses, please contact the police department. The department also worked with the Lorraine County Board of Developmental Disabilities to make available the Blue Envelope program. This program provides drivers who may have physical or medical conditions a way to easily communicate this fact to law enforcement during a traffic stop. This method has proven very effective to lower anxiety and gives officers access to critical information in the event of an accident. This program, combined with an emphasis on continued departmental training on interacting with citizens with an impairment or disability, will allow Avon Lake PD to offer top-level services to all of its residents. And I saved the best for last. I'd like to introduce the department's newest member. This is our crisis therapy K-9, Ruby, and that's also Detective Walborn with Ruby. Ruby just graduated from Ohio's first OPATA-certified crisis therapy K-9 class. Ruby is handled by Detective Walborn and will be available to provide comfort to those in crisis by providing a connection that traditional policing may not have bridged. Police crisis therapy K-9s offer physiological, emotional, and social benefits to both law enforcement personnel and the communities they serve. With Ruby's scope of training, you can expect to see her very soon at both community events and calls for service. And in closing, I'd like to thank all of you for being here and your engagement. Public safety is a shared responsibility, and with all your help, we can continue to keep Avon Lake a great place to live. And with that, I'll turn it over.
Actually, since you're clapping, can we have a round of applause for all of our folks here, directors, who do such a great job. Thank you all. Terrific job. So I hope everybody learned a little bit today about our community. One thing that I've learned in 40 years of working in municipal government that is the city is not defined by its buildings or its projects, but defined by its people. And I could not be more proud of our hometown and the people in this because you all are what make it special. And I think Avon Lake as a community has an extremely bright, incredible, bright future. So I want to thank everybody for being here. We're going to close it out. I want to move on to questions. As a reminder, as we do that, please come up to the microphone that Mr. Rua is setting up here. We encourage questions of general interest, if we could. Please limit it to one question so that everybody has a chance to ask a question if they wish. We are running a little bit short on time, so we probably only have like 10, 15 minutes. If you have a question that's unique only to you, please see us after the question period. We'll be happy to answer that, okay? With that, I'll take any questions and call up any of our directors if they're relative to them.
Is there any chance, possibility of data centers coming into Avon Lake?
We have no plans for data centers, nor do I think we have any land available. One thing I didn't touch on in our talk about community development is we are beginning to run out of land both for residential and commercial and industrial use. So we don't have any plans at this point. Nobody's approached us about a data center.
Well, that's great. We just came from the DC area 2 years ago, and they're everywhere, and they're ugly as can be. Yeah. Let alone draining electricity. But
I do know from my experience yesterday with the 4 mayors that Sheffield Village is interested in putting one in their town, but we don't have that situation right now. Thank you.
Good to hear.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
I was curious about Erie View Elementary School. You guys just purchased that, I suppose. What are the plans for that, and how does that affect, like, the senior center? Will they be moving over there? Will the programs over at the Anchor move over there?
Aaron, do you want to come up? That's a great question for Aaron Fatch. We did purchase this really quickly. We are going to be paying, we bought it for $500,000. It's $100,000 a year beginning in July of '27 for those payments. Payments are coming out of a fund that is set aside by monies we collect from developers, so it's not coming out of our general fund. And we think it's a great opportunity, but
I can
Director Fatch?
I can try to answer. In regard, I'll cover the Anchor first. So our lease for the Anchor currently ends at the end of this fiscal year. And we are having conversations now with the owner of the property and some other groups that are interested in carrying on that lease. So those are still in conversation. So I don't really have a timeline or know exactly what's going to happen with those existing programs, but we're working through that, currently working through that and trying to plan for the future. As far as Erie View goes, we are planning on, we have a whole slew of different program ideas that we want to program for both youth and adults of all ages as we transition into that space. What we don't have is necessarily a timeline of when that's going to happen. We hope that that happens within the year. We hope that our offices move there within the year. We do anticipate hosting our summer day camp and our theater camp there this summer, as long as we can transition into that space. And then again, we have a bunch of ideas for both youth and adult programs, whether it's continuing education, whether it's hobby-based, whether it's just community interest type programs. As far as senior programming, again, we anticipate that everything that we currently offer at the old firehouse will transition to Erie View. I just don't have a time frame of when that will happen yet, until we get into that space.
Thank you. And I will add that having Erie View gives us the opportunity to expand our senior programming. We're limited by size right now and space, so we'll be able to expand that. We are looking at potentially receiving a $150,000 grant very soon to begin that project, and we're currently engaged with some architects to oversee that. We're very familiar with the current condition of that and all the other things. So just want to point out that we are moving forward with that. Any other questions?
I heard your income tax talk. So if the income tax is not passed, I know this is all for infrastructure, what's the 5-year plan if the income tax doesn't pass?
So if the income tax doesn't pass come fall, we have to create a budget going into 2027. And that budget will be reflected by what we currently have for revenues, obviously not anticipating any additional revenue, and then council will, we'll give recommendations to council on how our budget's going to look. But obviously, without it, things are going to be a little bit tighter. We'll have to adjust accordingly. Before we move on, I did want to recognize two things that I forgot to mention before. Under the umbrella of the City of Avon Lake is Avon Lake Regional Water and our municipal court. They're kind of independent bodies, but they are a part of Avon Lake, and they're an integral part of Avon Lake. And the Chief Utilities Executive, Rob Monroe, does a great job with Avon Lake Regional Water. As you know, they are expanding. When they expand, get more customers, it means our water rates remain low. So that's a great thing. I also want to recognize the Avon Lake Municipal Court. Judge Manning is here. Welcome, Judge Manning. We appreciate you being here. Another independent body that does a great job, and Judge Manning has done a fantastic job of modernizing the court and providing additional services to those that are affected by situations involving the court. So thank you, Judge Manning, as well. Any other questions before we move on? Mr. Zimmerman. And I want to make sure our students have an opportunity. We've got a few minutes, so start thinking of all your questions, guys, okay?
William Zimmerman. It's my understanding you took a raise in January 1st of 2025. Is that correct?
I didn't take a raise. It was through the charter.
Okay.
The charter indicated that, what the pay would be. There was an independent civilian committee that made a recommendation to the Charter Review Committee. It was passed, and then council passed an ordinance.
Okay.
I didn't request a raise.
I understand that. I understand. The commission put together the idea for the $25,000 raise. More than 3%, that's for sure. My question is, are you aware that that's an ethics violation to take it in the middle of your term? You're supposed to take the raise only at the beginning of your term, not in the middle. And it becomes an issue then for the state of Ohio. And if I may, for 1 second, as previously held by the commission, the ethics law and related statutes are generally criminal laws which prevail over conflicting local provisions despite the home rule power of municipalities.
Oh, I thank you for that information.
So I guess we'll be in court again.
Any other questions from anybody? All right, we're actually ending on time, but again, I want to throw it out to our students. Anybody? No, sir, you can come up for another question, sure.
We were hoping to one day see a grocery store. There used to be one up there on Walker Road.
Sure.
I heard a rumor from a provider in the Cleveland Clinic that down the road, they're going to be moving their family practice and internal medicine offices over to that grocery store location. Is there any truth to that, or do you know anything about that?
We have been actively trying to fill that top store for many years, as you know. We're open to all, again, we don't own the property, right? So we're working with D. Hoff Development to fill that space. Initially, we put a lot of effort into trying to make another grocery store into that 60,000 square foot building. We put a lot of effort into it, including myself and Ted Esborn, directly calling the CEOs of other grocery chains, talking with them, going to visit them. There's very small margins in the grocery market, and that store has to be built out capital-wise, so that capital outlay is very difficult for grocery chains to absorb. So we are looking at other options, but we'll have to see what comes down the road with D. Hoff. Yep. Yes, sir. Come on up.
A simple question I have. With all the development that's going on in the city, the possibility of building by the lakeside, what's happening on 83 with all that development, have you guys done a traffic study?
So traffic studies, I'm sorry, you go ahead, finish, and then I'll answer your question.
Traffic studies, I can't imagine that corner at 83 getting any worse than what it is with new housing going over there. It seems like there's an accident there about once a week. I can't imagine what's going to happen if you do by the lake and all that. So going down Lake Road, I see going down Lear Road's horrible. I was just wondering what the traffic study in Avon Lake has been. Other than that the builders get to do the traffic study, has the traffic study been done by anybody else?
Sure, great question. So developers are required when they do a development to do a traffic study. Then we review it internally. Often either our engineer reviews it or we have a second firm review their study to make sure it's accurate. A traffic study was done for Walker and 83. It indicated that the effect with those two townhouse developments was minimal to the intersection. I will tell you that depending on what happens at the town center, that would increase traffic far more dramatically than the residential would. So as the power plant gets developed, they will be required to do a study. And that study will be pretty extensive because it will extend out from the boundaries right in front of the power plant. We also did a very extensive study at the Lear-Walker area, all the way to the railroad tracks. The most extensive traffic study I've ever experienced or seen. And again, those results were basically negligible. And it's surprising. All I would say is if you compare traffic in Avon Lake to my friend Brian Jensen, the mayor of Avon and his city, I think we're doing really well. Of course, as our population increases, so does the traffic. We also have right-of-way situations. We can't just widen a roadway. It gets very expensive. You know, I used to be a police officer and drive around cities in midnight and there's no traffic, right? So when we're talking about traffic situations, it's usually isolated to certain times of the day it's heavy. It's usually not a day-long thing. 83 and Walker might be the exception. Lear Road is getting busy, of course, Lear and Walker Road. So we keep that in mind, but as far as developments, the developer has to provide us a traffic study that meets our requirements. We're right at 8:30, so again, I want to thank everybody for coming in. I really appreciate y'all coming out, and again, thanks to the council for coming, and I want to thank my directors, and have a great evening. Thank you.